It finally happened. It finally happened. With the thing we've been building up to from the very beginning, it finally happened. Sung was able to restore his mother. And it was honestly a very emotional little scene there. I think really around the idea of acknowledging everything that Sung has done. I think it kind of helps the fact that he just literally came from the dungeon and he's still all scarred up. And she's like, why are you all beat and bruised? You've been working really hard, haven't you? You kept your promise. You kept your sister safe. All that stuff was really kind of that buildup of like acknowledging you did good. You got it done, boy. You did good. You did good. Really, really emotional stuff. And then having the sister come in right after was like another gut punch for it. It's like, stop. And they're happy. They're happy. It does seem like they're hinting at, again, kind of slowly hinting at the idea of him feeling a little bit isolated, despite the fact that he's achieved the thing that he wanted to achieve. He's finally achieved that, but he feels like he's crossed a line and he's not able to go back to that. And I know they've been hinting at this for quite a while now. I really am concerned about how they're going to actually nail it when it actually does get to it, because it's been such a background thing. Like every now and then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, I've crossed a line. Oh yeah, I did that, didn't I? But it's always like a shrug and then move on. It never like tries to dive into it at all. It's just kind of a very brief moment of acknowledging it and then it moves on. But I really do feel like what Baek was sort of digging into when he was talking to his friend, the healer, I really do think that this might actually be the direction they could take it, in the idea that those that have been awakened to hunters want to fight. There's an idea of like there's like a prerequisite. If you want to be a hunter, those that are chosen, those that awaken, are people that want to fight. And that could end up being what Sung's all about, because it does kind of feel like that, where he's like, yeah, I don't want to join you with this whole raid because my family's back. But then suddenly what happens? He feels the pressure from them training at the gymnasium. Suddenly he goes, oh, what is that? And then he immediately goes over there. If it was really true to the idea that I just got my mom back, they're back at home, they're waiting for me, and this is the thing I wanted to get, this is all I've been building up to, I have no reason to fight anymore. What happens? The moment he thinks about his family, suddenly he feels that pressure, and it's like a dog with a ball. I gotta go chase after that. Like suddenly he doesn't care anymore. And I think that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna watch these people duel, and he's gonna suddenly go, you know what? I want to fight alongside them. I want to fight. I want to get that strong. He's getting that desire for leveling. And again, this is all me speculating. It hasn't come out and said it. And so that's my concern. I'm able to draw a conclusion that I kind of want it to go into, but will the story nail it? That's the question mark. And I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But yes, this episode 21, solid episode. I think there's a lot of information in here that unfortunately the anime has skipped based on the manhwa. I did read the manhwa. There's quite a bit of little juicy bits here and there, including an entire fight between Hanekawa and the leader of the Knights Guild. Like, they literally had a quick duel, and that's what kind of sparked them to do more duels. So we'll get into that when we get into it. But yes, let's start from the very beginning of the episode, opening up with, yes, Esil. I'm gonna miss Esil. I'm so bad that he left Esil. I felt bad at the end there. She's like, oh, I'm like, girl, you fell in love with a shonen protagonist. If I could tell any anime girl a piece of advice here, never fall in love with the shonen protagonist, because you'll always be left behind. My poor girl. I like how they finished the fight, and literally the entire time she's like, party, let's go have a party. Let's have a joyous party. And she's all getting ready to do the party, and then he just leaves. And it's like, but what about the party? Esil just wanted a party. But no, yeah, this little beginning segment here, they kind of briefly glance through it as he was kind of trying to figure out if he can craft the potion and everything like that. It does get into that, yes, he acquired a few things from the actual boss himself, Baron. He got the Baron's horn, he's got his sword, his daggers, and yes, he also got a ring. And the ring is the final piece in this set piece that he's been building up this entire time for this dungeon. There was 3 things that he needed, which was an earring, a necklace, and then now he got the ring, and that all gives him like this massive stat bonus. But yes, he also got the purified blood in order to make the elixir. Which, yes, I do like that they kind of point out that this thing is based on intellect, and it did seem like in the anime they was giving more emphasis into that fear that, wait, this could actually fail? But thankfully, because, yes, we've established this prior, that, yes, he has been building up his intelligence. He found out that, yes, of course, he's using mana in order to summon all of his minions, and so he started increasing his intellect. And like I mentioned in the last episode, Impressions, and Skip Content, there was an aspect of using his ruler's hand to rip off the arms, and that was based on, or scaling on, intellect. So that's why he was able to do that. So he's been boosting up his intelligence, but it's like that aspect of, crap, I wish I knew that it was going to take intelligence in order to craft this potion, because it can fail. But no, not only does he craft it, but he crafts 6 of them. And so yes, my mind immediately went to, yes, one's obviously going to go to his mom. But then I'm like, okay, we just found out here recently that if that works, we found out here recently that Yo's father has the same thing. So I'm guessing that one of those is going to go to him. Where the remaining 4 go to, just keep it in the back pocket. Just keep it in the back pocket. But yeah, specifically in the manhwa, it does mention that he doesn't lose the materials. He lost the spring water, which was one of the materials, but the blood, he only used part of it, and the world tree fragment only chipped. So he still has those. It's just the spring water's used. So it's like, okay, so I guess I can technically craft more, question mark? But yeah, I love Iron showing up with the dragon. He's like, you're quick at that, Iron. Good job. And he's like, in the manhwa, it's just one of the other minions in the background. He's going, good job, man. But no, he rises the dragon, which was cool. So now he's got a dragon that he can fly around town with. He gets his shadow exchange skill, which is another one of those moments of like, yeah, is the system being convenient here? Like, the system's going to know that he wants to go home quickly, so it literally gives him the ability to be able to transport way back out of the dungeon instantly. But it said that it had a 3-hour cooldown, which was interesting, that he can trade places with any of his shadows, but it has a 3-hour cooldown. You could see it in the anime, but it's in red text at the very bottom, really hard to read. But it specifically says that that cooldown is based on the skill's level. So I'm kind of curious if he'll get to a point where he levels that up so high that he can use it like every few seconds and actually use it in combat to kind of just basically teleport around. That would be very interesting, because that was my immediate thought when I seen that ability. But yeah, he wants to use a potion right away, so he decides to leave poor Esil behind. That poor girl. She's, oh. No, it was not only that, but she goes to confess to him, or maybe she was just saying, hey, I want to go have a party. Maybe that was it. But no, it looks like she wanted to go confess to him, and then she opens her eyes, and it's literally just a random soldier that it's going, what? Why am I here? But no, this is interesting because he transports back to his neighborhood, and he goes the rest of the distance on the back of his dragon that he just summoned. Interesting thing is, in the manhwa, we get the scene where Go is actually meeting to try to figure out what their actual plan is, and right then, Go actually detects it. And not only Go, but also Baek. Both Baek and Go notices the presence of either Sung or his dragon, because they immediately freak out. And even later on, after Sung helps out his mother, and he's checking his phone to see what all he missed while he was in the dungeon, there's actually reports. People are reporting online that there was a spotting of a monster outside. So literally everybody's trying to find out why this dragon's in the middle of the town. There's reports of is there a dungeon break? Is the Hunters Association doing anything about this? Are the citizens safe? It's him summoning Kessel there has caused this massive uproar. But yeah, the scene between Baek and Byung-Gu, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Byung-Gu, which is one of the, I would assume probably one of the few S-rank healers, because I think back when we were talking about Johei, they were mentioning the idea that they were very short on healers. They really badly wanted Johei to join them. Johei was sought after a lot. They were doing raids and they wanted her to join, but then she retired. So I'd assume that he's probably one of the few S-rank healers out there. But yeah, apparently this is a guy that used to fight alongside Baek. They even did one of the raids to the Jeju Island at some point together, which apparently they lost their friend Insok, and so that's apparently the trigger for him to retire. He's one of the youngest to retire with all of his limbs, what I would assume is going to be the case because he can just heal them back. But no, it emphasizes a lot here that, yeah, he doesn't want to join them for the raid. He's assuming that Baek is there to ask him to join the raid, and Baek's like, no, I just want to tell you goodbye. Because Baek right now is just assuming that he's going to die. And again, they've been there before. They've fought their forces before. They died. But the big thing that stood out to me with this whole conversation was, one, in the manhwa, it does emphasize that, yeah, this guy doesn't want to go. He doesn't like blood. He doesn't like violence. He's never been the one to want fights. He's a big, massive history buff. And he's decided that he wants to go be a teacher for history, but he doesn't want to fight anymore. He doesn't want to see it anymore. His mindset is that battles are best left to history. I don't want to see it. I don't want to be a part of it. And probably a lot to do with the fact that he saw his friend die. Yeah, it kind of shows it. You kind of get a sense of what's happening there in the anime, but this dude literally got torn apart. Intestines and everything everywhere. They ripped him apart. He doesn't want to see it anymore. We do get a brief scene later on of him talking to Insok, and which I'm assuming is going to be the trigger that he's going to end up going anyways. And the idea that their friend, the one that died, he was all about the idea that, yes, I am afraid of fighting just like you. This guy was exactly like Byung-Gu. I don't want to go there. I don't want to fight. I don't like fighting. And we're probably going to die out there on that island. But those that can't fight are probably much more afraid. We are afraid, but we can actually fight. The citizens, they can't. And they're probably way more afraid. So that's what kind of driving him. And we do get a brief shot of him actually at a park. So my assumption there is that he's going to be like, okay, I got to protect these people. Just like our friend did, who was trying to save the citizens, I'll do the same thing. So I have no doubt this guy's going to end up joining anyways. But the thing that intrigued me the most, which I mentioned earlier in this conversation, was what Baek said, or what he was thinking about. That, yeah, there's very few hunters out there that don't enjoy the fight. So this guy is kind of an oddball. This guy not wanting to fight is kind of an oddball. He does acknowledge that it might be a common thing amongst those that are healers, like Johei. Again, Johei is similar to this guy. She doesn't want to fight. She doesn't want to raid anymore. She can't take it anymore. The things that she's seen was horrific. She doesn't want to be a part of that. And for a healer, they're the ones that have to try to save the lives of those that are dying. You're going to die. I got to save you. I got to save you. And then there's some people that they won't be able to save. And they're losing people. They're just like a doctor at a hospital. They want to save lives, but at some point it gets to you. I can't save everybody. I have to triage. My mistakes might cost somebody their lives. I use too much mana here, and thus this person's dead. That kind of stuff does probably go through their heads. But Baek's more getting the idea that he assumes that everybody likes to fight that are hunters. They crave it. Additionally, that might be a condition for awakening. I'd assume that's going to be the case, and again, I think that might actually apply to Sung. That he actually gets sucked into continuing on, despite the fact that he achieved his goal. He's going to get sucked in to keep going on because he craves the fight. I think that's the direction it's going to take it. But yeah, another bit in the manhwa, they did mention the fact that Byung-Gu has been confronted by Yoshin Construction. They wanted him to actually be their guild master. And he's also had, of course, lots of other guilds since retiring that has come after him and tried to recruit him. But that's when we get to the hospital. Yes, Sung arrives there, jumps to the window in the manhwa. Kind of gets a little bit of a difficulty in deciding that he wants to try it. Even when he goes to feed it to her, there's like his hands shaking. Everything is to this moment. He's acknowledging that there's a good chance it might not work or she might not swallow it, but even still, he acknowledges that everything up until now has shown that this system has produced miracles. Why wouldn't it work now? So it gives him a little bit of confidence, but you can see that he still has that shake to his hand even when he goes to give it to her. Interesting note, when he first arrived there, yes, he does have a brief flashback of his mother who was burned, and he blames himself. In the manhwa, specifically what happened there is that he boiled water and he brought it to his mother to help her wash her hair. And he poured the boiling water on her head. I'm surprised that that's the only part that you can see that burned, but yeah, it was kind of weird in the anime. For some reason, they made it look all blistery, which, again, for anybody that, I mean, yes, there's some extreme burns that will immediately blister, but it's typically red first and then it blisters up, like the fluids get inside there and it raises up the skin. I'm not sure why it like instantaneously blistered in the anime. The manhwa, it wasn't. It was like just a red mark, but that was a little weird. But yeah, it was that was a little bit funny to find out for the manhwa that he literally was trying to wash her hair and burned her. The poor little kid. But it was more pointing out in the manhwa how quickly she turns to him and says, "Are you okay? Are you safe?" And yeah, in the anime, she turns and immediately hugs him. It was almost like the feeling that I got from the anime was the idea of forgiveness. That she still embraces him after he accidentally burned her or mistakenly burns her, and she embraces him almost like it's okay. But in the manhwa, I get more of a sense of her quick action to immediately make sure that he's okay first, and then acknowledge that it's okay, that a mistake happened. But either way, it emphasized the idea that he's always been a burden upon her, and this is finally the moment that he can finally help her with something, and again, hoping that it actually works. But yeah, kids, don't wash your parents' hair with boiling water. It makes me wonder if his mother's hair was stinking or something he was trying to clean. Anyways, serious scene here. But yeah, it works. Again, I like the fact that she acknowledges that he's all, immediately. Again, it's hard to remember, but yes, he's changed appearance so much. And again, it's been 4 years at this point. Yes, really cool that she immediately recognized him. You're Jinwoo, aren't you? Like, I know who you are. You're my son. Immediately asked how long it's been. Been 4 years. You've been working really hard. You're all scarred up. And again, him acknowledging this is a reward for all those efforts that I did, which is really, really cool. Now, a really interesting little bit that they skipped. I mean, they did kind of show the doctors all panicking, like, holy crap, somebody woke up from the eternal slumber. That's not happened before. Everybody's freaking out. What happens in the manhwa is immediately they report to the doctor, and the doctor's like, wait, what? She woke up? We got to do some tests. Let's get over there really quickly. And they're like, they said the guardian for the patient has demanded they release her immediately. And he's like, wait. You can't do that. She's been laying there for 4 years. She can't walk. She's not going to be able to move. She's not going to be... No, she's perfectly fine. We did tests. She's able to walk right now. She can leave. Well, she still can't leave because we need to find out what happened. We got to find out why she was able to wake up. So they're like already saying, no, she cannot leave. Even though she's fully healthy, even though she's all good, we still need to look into her and find out what the hell happened. There's a little bit of a sense there of, yes, a little bit of a selfishness by the doctor, but still, it's like, no. And they're like, we don't really have a choice because, yeah, the guardian for the patient, you might have heard who he is. He's the newest S rank. He's the newest S rank hunter. And the guy's like immediately, yeah, if she's fine, let her go. Like, oh my gosh, we can't keep her here and keep her captive here. Like the moment he realizes the guardian is Sung, he's like, oh yeah, she's perfectly fine. Let her go. We're not going to keep her here. It's dorky. But after that, we have the press conference. They're announcing to everybody what they're going to be doing. We jump over to Sung. He goes back home. And yes, apparently sister was a little bit of slob while he's been gone. Girl's a little snack monster. Apparently just completely wrecked the house while he was gone. And so, yes, they have to do some cleanup. It was a cute little scene there, seeing everybody kind of cleaning up together. Yes, mom mentioning the fact that she's seen on TV that he'd become a hunter, mentioning that his father apparently had become a hunter. He used to be a firefighter, and she loved seeing him kind of save people's lives, and that's what made her marry him. And yeah, that sense of wanting to help others probably passed on to him. And yes, the sister points out that she became a doctor too, so that probably got from there too. Which I kind of wonder if this is a little bit of a tipping in the hand, the idea of acknowledging that his father was all about saving lives. And yes, Sung has always been about that too. That's what has been his driving force up until now, is in order to save his mother. But I kind of wonder if there's an element here of sort of re-acknowledging to Sung, by the way, you did this to save your mother, right? It isn't to fight other people. You should have a desire to save people, right? You have that from your father, right? I mean, because that could end up becoming a question in the future if he has crossed this line and he has become more cold-blooded. Will he hesitate to take down people? Will he not question anymore? Is that switch no longer there and it's always on? Question mark. But yeah, I'm surprised it took that long for her to question if the father's contacted, which that does make me believe that the father went out to be a hunter before she collapsed, because I think I had a question mark of that at some point. When did he become a hunter? Because my belief there is that the father's awakening and becoming a hunter is what made her get sick to begin with, because they established that there might be a case with Yo that he caused his father to get sick because he became a hunter. Which I forgot to get in that earlier, but yeah, that really does beg the question mark, is the mother actually cured? Because they've already established that this forever sleep concept, this eternal sleep, is caused by being around high concentration of mana when the body itself can't take it. And that was the case with Yo's father. He can't take it. The moment that he's around his son, he gets sick. So is there a chance here where Sung's mother's just going to get sick again? If that's how it works and it's about being around mana and the body not being able to take it, she's just going to get sick again, right? Or is possibly the potion that he gave her going to give her resistance to that mana at this point? Massive question mark there. Like, even more so, like back then she was around her husband that had high mana. He could be more stronger than Sung, but now around Sung, who's now, like, again, way higher S rank member, is she going to get sick faster? I kind of wonder if she's going to remain good or not. After that, yes, we get a post-conference conversation. That's where they did bring up what they skipped last episode, which is that, yes, Thomas did end up showing up, which is the American S-Rank National Authority Hunter. Again, in the manhwa, he shows up before the press conference and essentially pushes them to not allow Huang to come there. I'm not sure why the anime's being so vague about it, but he literally comes there to say, yeah, I was going to tell you guys not to let Huang join because Huang wants to join in on this hunt. They all know that he wants to join the Jeju raid party because he wants to kill Sung. They know full well that they're declining him. But here he's literally come there to say, don't let him in this country. Don't let him be a part of the raid. And then he goes, peace out. Oh, by the way, you thought I was going to help you? I'm not. I'm not. Unless you have some money, I'm not. It seems like he does know about Sung and Huang's desire to go see Sung too. And because he even asks about Sung. Anyways, they get Sung there. They ask him to join the raid. He's about to go say no. I think he's about to go say no. And that's when they notice the energy coming from the gymnasium. They go over to check it out. That's when we have Baek and Ma are just duking it out. They mention the fact that he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to transform in front of other people. It makes me wonder if it's an aspect of he doesn't like to show people what he's capable of, Or is it more of a fact that he doesn't like how it looks? Or it might actually trigger the S ranks to attack him. If they see me in my monstrous form, will everybody think I'm a magical beast and come attack me? Because that's what they're kind of implying that he looks like. They point out Ma is from the Fame Guild. Fame Guild is one of the 5 major guilds in South Korea. It's considered to be the 4th strongest. And then we have the arrival of Japan. The 10 S ranks from Japan showing up with Goto, who is their leader. Immediately, they point out Sung. Who is that person? Oh, that's the new S rank. I like the fact that Goto immediately acknowledges that Sung is an assassin type. He's like, he must be an assassin type. In the manhwa, Goto in his mind is kind of questioning if he's an assassin type and that his presence couldn't easily be hidden if he were. He must be a really powerful one. Kind of implies the idea that Sung is trying to suppress a power of some sort, or at least it's not able to see it and he's thinking that he's suppressing it. Either way, he thinks it has to have something to do with being an assassin because of that much power that he has, and he's not able to see it all. I like how Cha's off to the side. She's like, oh, Sung is here. No wonder the atmosphere changed. I'm like, girl, you sniffing him from down there? I'm joking. It's your girl sniffing him from way down there. During the entrance of Goto and all the other ones, Hanekawa, who is like his translator, she's like constantly bickering about how everybody's weak. I do like at some point in the manhwa, even though she is downplaying everybody, Goto takes note of Cha. He claims Cha and Go could give their best hunters a run for their money. So he's even noting that of all these people here, Go and Cha, and this is seeming to be, consistent with everybody else, those are the big wigs. Those are the big dogs. And I would probably lump in Sung with that because we've already established from Cha's perspective that he's as strong as Go. So that's pretty much their top 3, I would assume. But yeah, that's when we have a big bickering match because Hanekawa is, I don't know, I'm getting mixed messages from Hanekawa, who again is Goto's translator and seemingly assistant. She seems to be, I'm not sure if I would put her in the realm of just kind of a troublemaker or just a bickering person. I would kind of probably put her more in the realms that I think that she is just blunt, because it does give some symbols later on after a duel between Hanekawa and the leader of the Knights Guild, which they skipped, that she just doesn't really get a sense of what she's saying, or at least it comes across as really rude. Now, Goto constantly is trying to tell her, stop saying things like that, you're causing problems. But yeah, what the anime skips here is that, yes, when they first arrive in there, Hanekawa is like, this is their best. These guys look weak because they're watching, again, Baek is fighting Ma, and he's not really technically going all out. But the leader of the Night Guild, which is Jongsoo, he understands Japanese because they're speaking Japanese, and he immediately says, that's kind of insulting what you're saying there. And they get in a little of a bickering match because, yes, Hanekawa's questioning why he's even there. Jongsoo is not even an S rank, and this whole mission is supposed to be nothing but S ranks. So she's questioning why he's even there, which is, again, kind of insulting. Jongsoo's little lackey there is trying to talk them up like, oh, you don't know what the Knights Guild is? We have the most A rank members in our party. We're here because we're supposed to be the defenders while you're all are fighting. So gives a reason why they're there. They have to be clued in on that. Because, yes, everybody that's under S rank is supposed to stay behind and defend the homeland. But after a while of kind of bickering back and forth, eventually, Hanekawa challenges Jongsoo to a duel. So it's basically a duel between 2 A ranks. When they get up there, immediately he kind of establishes the rules. It'll come down to whoever grabs the other person on the wrist. They do a quick duel. He quickly wins. After the duel, he points out to her that she's too used to being behind a tank. She's probably very, very skilled, but she's always in a formed party, so she doesn't know what it's like to be in basically a threatened situation. Whereas he puts it that people in South Korea, things are a little bit different. You run into a lot of troublemakers, and sometimes you have to take them out. This sort of implies to me that there is a sense here that hunters in Japan have it kind of made in the idea that, I guess, people are more respectful of each other's, and hunters aren't, I guess, more prone to violence. Or at least maybe there's structures in place that keep people in line. Whereas in South Korea, hunters have to deal with a lot of situations where other hunters will attack you or kill you inside of gates. So he's kind of putting her in her place in the idea that she's so used to fighting behind a tank and she doesn't know what it's like to have to go up against another hunter. That's why he was able to beat her in a duel, is because he's used to fighting other humans. He's like, magic beasts are kind of predictable in a lot of ways, whereas humans aren't. So kind of interesting little spat there. But yeah, that's when Goto calls out for them to have a duel between members. They're going to basically have the same rules. Whoever knocks another person down or whatever wins. So that's going to, I guess, make sure that nobody kills anybody else. But yeah, that's the beginning of the duel and the end of the episode. One other interesting note that was skipped from the manhwa, and I don't know if this will be important at all. If you guys notice when the Japanese group was walking in, there was specifically one person that was wearing a gas mask. This guy's name is Kei, and there's a brief snippet in there where this Ishida Mari girl is trying to talk to him. She's the one with the shorter hair. She's trying to talk to him, and he's like, "Don't talk to me. I want to throw up with all these S ranks gathered here." Yes, that might, tickle a few people's ears there. He quickly looks over to Cha and notices that she's covering her mouth. He assumes that her nose is as sensitive as his is. But in his mind, he assumes that because she only uses a handkerchief, that she's a few tiers lower than him. So it implies the idea that Cha is not a unique case, that she's not the only person out there that is able to, I guess, smell the aura of other hunters. But I guess the question mark is that mean that he's super powerful or that his smell is not as powerful as she is? It does kind of, again, make me go right back to my joke, but I thought it was just a joke, but it might actually be true that there may be some hunters with the power of smelling stank. I don't know. I'm assuming it's maybe a class of scouting or something like that, and the two of them are kind of similar, that they can actually smell where the enemy is. It might actually help them with assassin-like monsters or just finding where monsters are at. I would assume that's going to be the case. But yeah, solid episode. Curious if we'll actually get to this stinking Jeju Island raid before the end of the season, if we're going to have stupid little duels before we even go there. I assume next episode we're going to have the duel, and then Sung's going to agree to go, because again, he's going to see this duel. And again, I think that desire to fight is going to get into his skin, even though he wants to not bother anymore. And I think he's going to end up going. We'll probably end the next episode with them going off to the Jeju Island, and then I guess give the rest of the episodes to the actual Jeju raid, which I don't know if they could do that in, 2 episodes? But we'll see. But anyhow, that's my thoughts on this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below. If you like this content and you want to support more, I have links in the description below. Greatly appreciate it. Until next time, y'all take care.